Welcome to Grit and Gravitas with Ann and Annie, bringing you savvy, spirited stories of success. We're excited to deliver 30 minutes of inspiration, impact, and goodness. We'll be bringing you guests and friends from around the country who have very special work and personal journeys. I'm Ann Deeter Gallaher, your co-host with Annie Carnathan, and this is Grit and Gravitas. Let's go! It's Grit and Gravitas podcast day in the studio. It's slightly different today, ladies, which I know. At the 11th hour, Annie, my phenomenal co-host, had to call in sick. So the show goes on, and I'm with two amazing guests who know better than anyone else that the show goes on. So we have Valerie Pritchett. Val's so excited to have you in the podcast studio. You're with TV 27. We've been friends for a long, long time, have served on boards together, worked together. Andrea Snody, TV 21, welcome to Grit and Gravitas.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So we've kind of turned the tables on the media professionals today. Annie and I discussed how exciting it would be to have media, reporters, anchors, people in the business, in the news business, and get a little bit of insights from you on how do you celebrate the holidays when the news never stops. And I did ask you, and I'm thrilled, bring either a favorite holiday recipe or a family memory that you've had, and we'll share a little bit about that. But Valerie, welcome. Love the pop of green you've got on today. And this isn't the first time you've been in and out of Grit and Gravitas. I know you shared a great segment that we did with Ginger Z.
Yes.
And that was exciting. So, yeah, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the holidays because I get a break. I get to sleep a little bit after years of working the holidays generally.
Yes.
Now as an anchor, I get a little bit of time off. So I'm appreciative of that and grateful.
Good. So any special holiday memory that you would like to share with people? So we get a little bit deeper view of Valerie Pritchett.
Well, my holiday memories are I have a military background, and some of my favorite ones were when we were in base housing, Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And I'm an only child, so coming down the steps and seeing all the presents under the tree, I fondly remember. And just now, being with family, being able to be together, have a dinner, enjoy it for multiple days and not just one.
Right.
And to spend time, and, time's precious. You don't get that back. So being able to just decompress a little bit.
Right, and intentional about that. Does that mean you leave the device like in another room? Do you check your phone?
Well, we are in news, and so the news does not stop.
Yes.
So I do check my phone. I've been very good, though, about putting it away for a certain amount of time.
Sure.
But I do have to check in here and there to find out. I know with another reporter here, it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
So, you get tips, you form relationships, and when the news happens, it happens. The news is like, oh, it's Christmas, I'm going to stop. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not? You two are two of the people I don't feel bad if I'm texting at, a weekend, with an idea or a tip or, getting your feedback on a story that might be running or about to run. So I know there is no 8 to 5. Andrea, how about you? Welcome. And you're relatively new to the news cycle. You're not a recent graduate from Penn State.
Yes, I am. I just graduated in May, so I landed this job with CBS 21 here in Harrisburg.
Welcome to Harrisburg.
Thank you. And I mean, so far so good. I've already made so many connections and, gotten to know the area and everything. And it's really been awesome so far. And I think I'm just kind of, so young and so new, just kind of getting into that groove with, kind of adjusting to everything. Not even just news, but just kind of swifting into adulthood.
Yeah.
Adulting.
I'm paying my bills. I'm paying my rent.
Well, you moved away. So you're in a new city.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Maryland, just outside D.C. And yeah, this is a brand new city for me. I mean, I went to Penn State, which is, right up the road.
Right.
So, but Harrisburg specifically, and especially working in news, you kind of need to know the area and the people and stuff. So definitely at the beginning, it was a little bit of a struggle for me because I didn't know. I was like, where is this? Who do I contact for this? Right. But now, even in the 4 short months that I've been here, it's already, I've met so many people. Is that how long
you've been here? I was thinking it was longer than that. Wow.
Yeah, I started in August, so it's been a little bit now.
Good.
But yeah, definitely getting into that groove. Like Val was saying, I just had dinner with some of my girlfriends last night. We were talking about all our new jobs and everything, and they were all saying how, at the end of the day, like once I'm done at work, like I just put my phone down, I don't worry about it. I'm like, I just can't relate. No. Like I wish I could, but we work in news, so.
Yeah. Well, so Valerie's the evening news anchor, and you're, I know, like what? What time do you get up? 3:00?
So I'm a morning news reporter at CBS 21 News. My shift is 3:30 a.m. to 12:30. So usually I get up originally when I first started, I got up around 2 a.m., but now I kind of pushing it to 3 a.m. I just learned to get ready faster. So I usually will show up to the station like in my sweats and everything, and I'm doing my makeup and hair, and I've kind of mastered, getting ready really fast. I started putting timers on the counter, and I can do it in about 5 minutes now, which is like record time for me. But again, you have to learn to do it fast. So.
Well, when I've done early live shots with you and others, from every Central PA station, honestly, I've seen the reporters, their masters at doing the makeup in the car. Like as I'm pulling up, I'm like, how are you doing that? It's pitch black out.
Yeah.
But everything looks, when the camera's rolling, everybody looks fabulous.
Yeah, I agree.
So have you had a struggle with being intentional about, so we just came out of Thanksgiving and you were able to spend time with your family?
Yes, I did, luckily. So I did have to work on the holidays, being so new and everything, I don't have that seniority yet to, be able to ask for holidays off just yet, which is, great. And I think it's honestly, when you're working in news, it can be a great experience to work on holidays. But I'm lucky and blessed enough where I do work a shift where I'm still able to make time for my family. I mean, I'm out at noon before 1 p.m. So on Thanksgiving Day, I got out of my shift at noontime and I drove home and I was able to, spend Thanksgiving with my family. It was a little bit rough though because since I do have this 3:30 shift, I had to drive back so early. I kind of had a little bit of FOMO, like fear of missing out. Like I had to leave my family and everything while they were, having fun and watching movies and everything. But, at least I got to spend a little bit of time with them. I know a lot of people that weren't as fortunate and, had to work on the holidays, and that's a very normal thing. But I was very blessed where I got that opportunity. So,
and you both share that with either the medical profession, the healthcare workers are working.
Yes.
First responders are working, and even the restaurants. There's many of them that are still open for families that are celebrating different holidays, and so they struggle with that too. Yeah. So Andrea, thank you for your service, and you want to share a little bit about so I'm honored. Thank you, your family, Val, for their service, and Andrea, you for yours. Share a little bit about you have a fascinating background and how your military experience came.
Yeah, so my dad was a retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And I just kind of came from a huge military background. At least almost every other person in my family served at some point.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my older brother, he served in the Navy for a little bit. And, obviously my dad. So my dad did ROTC at UNC Chapel Hill. It stands for Reserve Officer Training Corps. And at most larger universities, they offer that. So I ended up doing that at Penn State. I enlisted into the Pennsylvania National Guard when I was there to kind of gain some experience and everything before joining the officer corps. So once I graduated, I then commissioned as an officer, and now I am stationed at Fort Indiantown Gap and am part of a personnel company, and I'm a platoon leader. And it's been a really great experience. I think doing ROTC definitely taught me a lot of discipline and time management.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it definitely was, I had a unique experience where I was a broadcast journalism student, and I was also handling the military at the same time, and it was both sides were very demanding in different ways. On the journalism side, I was doing internships, with ESPN, Big Ten Network.
Wow.
Working all the Penn State football games. I had a TV internship with our student-run television news network. But then on the other side, it was like we'd have to go away for 4 or 5 days on a weekend for Army training. And
do you seriously have to do push-ups and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah, we do.
So there's still a physical exam to get into the service, correct?
Yes, there is. But it's always changing, now that we have an integrated Army, and we have, I actually just did a story a couple weeks ago that the percentage of women has increased significantly since the 1970s. And that's something that I'm really proud of too, because, I remember one time I was in uniform at lunch with another soldier for drill. I think we were at Red Robin's. And there was a little girl, and she was at the table next to us. And I speak Spanish, too. And they were a Hispanic family. So in Spanish, she says to her mom, she's like, "Mommy, look, it's a girl soldier." And
Did you say anything?
I didn't say anything, but I just kind of I just blushed, and I was just so happy because I never really saw that growing up. Everyone who served in the military in my family were all men, which is great. But I think I really felt a calling. So I'm glad that I can, be a role model for younger women and younger girls, that they can do anything, and they can, do the military, and they can, do other things like news and reporting or whatever it may be, whether they want to go into the medical services or anything. So the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's great.
Yeah.
So Val, how long you've been in news? More than a year or two.
Oh yes. So I've been in news for quite a while, and started out at a small station in South Jersey. Wow. I had 2 internships. Internships for anyone is a great idea, because it's how you get your jobs 9 times out of 10. Went into college, got hired right out of college, went to a station for a few years, and then ended up in South Central Pennsylvania. So it has been quite the journey. Very fortunate to be in this area. People have been so wonderful and so receptive. I love coming from a family of service and giving back to my community. Right. And so that's what's really important to me. I know we do serve on a lot of boards together. Right. And it's been I'm just so blessed to be able to be here in South Central PA.
No, I think we have a really compassionate community.
We do.
For, some other news stories crop up, and there's, we're in challenging times, but I just came from bell ringing, and I'm always amazed at the amount of people that are very, very generous. An older lady, she'd gone out with her cart. We were at Carnes, and she came back in. I mean, she was in her high 70s, and she pulled out her checkbook, and is like writing on her knee because she's bent over, and writes a check and puts it in the kettle. And I'm like, God bless her. She could have easily thought, this is too much trouble. I'm not going to do this. But I think our community is so fortunate to have people like you that give back, do stories about giving back, and, really cover that kind of news. It's tremendous. So did you bring a favorite recipes or a favorite memory to share, Val?
Yes. So I have peppermint chocolate cookies, and they're made with cake. And it's interesting because I was at my friend's house, Luann, on Sunday. We had lunch, and I said, I have to make some cookies. And so she had the recipe, and she shared it with me, and this is now my favorite Christmas cookie. Ooh. And they're delicious. I mean, they're soft. You make it with cake batter.
Oh,
they add some creme de menthe and like little chips.
Oh, those Andes mints in there? What's? Oh, my word.
It's like chopped up.
Yeah.
So you just put them in, and they're delicious. And they're soft cookies because it's baked with cake.
Yeah.
So I do like to do a little baking and cooking. The time. Usually I'm food prepping on a Sunday.
Right.
Just because of the time and the schedule. But yeah, these are my favorite. Now, had I not been able to do that, I would have done what you did. And I would have probably gone to Costco for my other favorites. Or one of those stores for my other favorites, local bakeries. Yeah, you have wonderful brownies.
Yes.
Andrea, what'd you bring?
So these are sea salt chocolate brownies from Trader Joe's. I didn't have time to bake. Okay, I just got off my shift.
Yes, you did. Yes,
But
you did.
usually for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I have some family members who are, vegetarian or vegan. So I usually am always like the one who kind of caters to them. Like I try to make desserts that they can eat. So I've always made like vegan brownies, just use like a egg substitute and stuff.
Okay.
But these are not vegan, but they're amazing. I love them. They are just so good. I brought them into the station today, and my coworkers loved it. So they're really good. They're really delicious. I love the sea salt. I'm very much like a sweet and salty girl.
Yes.
So I like them combined together.
And plus, any newsroom, you bring in food. They eat.
Oh, yeah. They come
That's
swarming.
the quickest way to their hearts.
Yeah.
Just bring in food.
Well, I
you
saw
get
the
everyone to like
milkshakes.
you.
I saw everybody with the new
yes.
salted caramel. How were they?
Oh my God,
were
they're delicious.
really good. They were really good. I have to pop a lactate pill first.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop me. And I look forward. I go there every year, and I look forward to the farm show for the different events we're doing. And to be able to
food court
help
alone.
out
Yeah.
with Valley Grange and serve milkshakes. and-
Right.
But it was very tasty. I like that they come up with new flavors every year. Some kind of signature flavor.
I've got to ask Lucy about that. And Lucy Naz has been on the podcast too. I'd love to know what's the experimentation process of how they're doing that. It wasn't an orange cream.
It was
like
orange
a couple
cream one
years
time.
ago?
There was a raspberry one, I believe, one time, or some kind of berry one. So I always look forward to seeing what concoction they're going to come up with and how many calories I'm going to suck up for 2 weeks straight.
I know. Well, this will be your first farm show, Andrea, or not?
Yes,
Have you been?
I've never been,
Oh
but
my
I've heard so
golly.
much about it, and I've heard so many good things. So I'm excited
Fun
for the
stories
food.
to cover.
Yes.
I will say.
It is
Butter
my
sculptures.
favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started off for a journalist here, and I had to do farm show, and nobody really liked to go out and do farm show. I'm like, what? And I love animals, so I'm like, let me get this straight. I get to stay in this area, in an enclosed area in January where it's warm because all the animals are there.
Yeah.
I get food, a lavatory, and I have animals, and I just get to report and have fun. Oh, I'm so in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is my favorite go-to. Usually as an anchor, I don't get out as much.
No, right.
But I do get to go out for farm
Yeah,
show.
that's good.
Plus the calving corner, so the baby,
yes.
the cows are calving, and you get to. I think they have a live cam on that.
They have live cam. They have so many different things.
Yeah.
So live cam for that. You have all of your local PA preferred. I love buying PA preferred products.
Right.
So a lot of my products, I'm very supportive of local farmers and local food. I like to know where my food comes from. And, a lot of times those farmers are feeding their families with the same food.
Exactly.
Of course, we have PA wineries. So the wineries are there. I'm taking part in a big honey extraction. I'm a little concerned, but at
have
least
you been
they have
a judge before? I want to say that you have.
No, but we're actually doing taking the honey from the comb.
Ooh.
And so there's a process. Then we do a lot of the sous chef events.
Yeah.
And the cow milking and
I have never tried that. Did you try that?
Oh yeah, draft horse. Now I'm good at it. Now I finally learned how to do it. And then the draft horse competition, which is really fun. So you drive
cool.
this huge team of percherons. You have thousands of pounds of beast in front of you, and they're so gentle giants. So that's going to be really fun. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I will tell you this: wear boots.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Keep the same clothes because you're going to want to.
No, you smell like the farm show when you
smell
leave.
the farm show. And occasionally you want to get out and get some fresh air because if you have any allergies, there's so I have to allergy pill up first. But you're gonna love it.
The food court alone is a sight to behold.
Wow.
No, we just go. We go at 4:00. Our family and now the grandkids are all about it too, and just start at the potatoes, the potato donuts. Then there's apple cider, there's mushrooms,
Such
the
good things about the
mushrooms.
donuts.
The blended mushroom burger is to die for. And then they always add some new. I can't wait because usually you'll probably be around because it'll be in the morning. They have a media day where you test all the products so you know what you're talking about the next day when you're doing it. And they always bring out something new. So I know my one. Well, I know. I'm excited.
You do?
No. I know. I can't wait. So James, who anchors our morning show, he loves the turkey legs. That's one of his favorites. But
I honestly have never had that.
The food is delicious.
No, it is.
And again, remember, it's all PA grown. You know.
Yeah, our agriculture stats are unbelievable, which is a great education. So I'm going to tell you what I brought us.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have your little directions on your tag here. But Andrea, you had said we're time starved these days.
Yes.
And so what I did, so little backstory on a favorite memory. There's a group of my sister and some of her friends and myself and some neighbors. We started a craft night back in the day. And when I say back in the day, it's 35 years ago.
Oh, wow.
We are still meeting once a year. It's like the first Tuesday in December. Back in the day, we actually brought glue guns and did our crafts, and it was our time away from little ones. So now we've graduated to either buying an ornament or we're not actually making our craft. But this was my craft this year. So you have a dozen cookies. I made them last night. So they're just they're called Amish sugar cookies.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
have
okay.
confectioner's sugar and a cup of butter and.
It's the holidays.
So yeah. So when if you're having your friends, you're hanging out with your girlfriends, and you want something to go with your wine. Val, if you're bringing your grandchildren over, and you have a container of sprinkles, so you just pop these in the oven, or you could take them home and pop them in the freezer and wait, till your mom comes and impress her when she
Right.
comes to PA and says, look what I just whipped up.
So where did you find time? Because you're
So-
pretty busy too.
Yeah,
know.
it was. So I'm not great at going to bed early. You just try to wedge in time, but like our craft night, we've done this every year, and we've it's been difficult to make the schedule, but honestly, this is way before iPhones. Keeping together, we all were young moms coming up. Well, now. Our children are gone. We have grandchildren. We've lost parents. A few have lost a spouse. And it's kind of that network. Every year, we might not have talked to each other in person for a whole year. But, when you talk about a sisterhood, it's people that you could depend on. If they texted and said they needed me, I would be there, within an hour. So it's I'm glad that we intentionally do that. December's crazy and you're like, I don't know if I have time in my, do I have time to whip up a craft? But I'm excited to say we have sustained that process. And last Friday, another thing I try to do over the holidays, I have two older brothers that live in Philadelphia and my sister lives in Carlisle. And we get together for lunch now that both of our parents are gone. We used to get together more because they would come up to see mom or dad who lived at my sister's house. And now, there's more of a reason with our kids and grandkids. But so I just had them up for lunch on Friday. I had a deadline or two and I said, I have to make it work because, when you look back, it's the time you spend with your friends and your family.
Yes.
Right.
No one's going to say, you didn't make that deadline.
Right.
We have to do this. And I had just wrote an article recently in a business journal, and it was titled "The 87 Rule," and it was what I had learned about do those things in life, or when you're deciding what commitments to say yes to. Step back and ask yourself, when I'm 87, will it have mattered to me? And you probably cut out half of the things that you're stressing about now, outside of job requirements.
Right,
but a lot of the things like, I need to do this. I have to get the Christmas cards. Well, when I'm 87, will I remember in 2023 I didn't get the card out? Or probably not, With Facebook and social media, they see all of that anyway. But it's kind of a good step back that sometimes the things that we stress about and worry about aren't really worth the time that we're surrendering that to. Yeah. So that would be my business vitamin is the 87 rule, especially during the holidays, spend time with your family. And, if you have your parents, it's wonderful. Enjoy. I know, Val, you're super close to your mom.
Yeah. So, and I'm with you on that. Like when you're on your deathbed, are you going to be thinking about, hopefully you're thinking about the time you had with loved ones. And because again, as I said, you don't get that back. And the earlier you learn that, the better. Because I think right now everybody's just so hustle, bustle here, there, everywhere. And I've had to learn to just stop and say no sometimes. I think,
that's hard to do.
It's so hard. And I think especially women, we are great multitaskers.
Yes. No, we are.
And we say yes a lot. And sometimes you just have to say no for your own health and for your family and everything else. I mean, we have a new puppy. And so now I'm sleep deprived.
Like having another
I can't
baby.
say no to him.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but yeah, and I realized that, I am, but I'm enjoying this. Like I love, I do Schutzen, a sport on the weekends, and I have 2 Belgian Malinois, and it's protection, tracking, and obedience. And I'm together in Perry County with them. My husband comes up. And as soon as I cross the river, it's just
you're just
decompression.
de-stressing.
And I'm focused on one thing, and
Right.
that's training the dogs. And so I think too, especially when you're early in your career, and to be able to balance being in the military, again, thank you for your service.
Yes,
And
yes.
also, being able to do this job, which is also very demanding, it's a testament to who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you're wonderful. And we look forward to seeing great things from you.
Yes,
you. Thank you
yes.
so much.
No, both of you. It's an honor for me to work with both of you at different times. Andrea, any family memories that you have?
So I would say, like, for Christmas, we celebrate
Yes.
Christmas, and again, I grew up in a mixed household. My mom's Hispanic; she's from Cuba, and my dad's white.
I can't wait to hear what are the meal. What's the food scene?
So actually, this year we almost got in an argument with my grandma, my abuelita, because for Thanksgiving usually we have like a mix of Cuban food and like the traditional American food, like mashed potatoes, stuff.
But your grandmother wants to do all the Cuban food.
And so we kind of decided, like, okay, why don't we just, do a traditional Thanksgiving, and then we'll save all the Hispanic food for Christmas. And my grandma was like, what? So I think we did end up having like a side of rice and beans on Thanksgiving, but usually for Christmas Eve, we call that Noche Buena. It's like Christmas Eve in Spanish. And we'll have, it's a Cuban dish called pernil. It's like pork.
Ooh.
Pork is very like popular in Cuban cuisine. And usually we'll have white rice and black beans and plantains of some sort, or tostones, which are just like fried plantains. So I'm excited for our Christmas Eve dinner. And that's definitely a big tradition.
So when should we come to that? Exactly. You're all invited.
You're all invited.
I know.
But yeah, so usually then Christmas Eve we'll open presents from the family, and then
nice.
Christmas Day is Santa Claus
Yes,
presents.
right.
So he left the presents under the tree. So it's cool. It's cool. I really enjoy Christmas.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, are you and Joe local, Valerie, or where are you going?
No, so we travel all around. So we have a week off. Well, I have a week off. Joe took a little less off. So we'll be traveling here and there and getting to see our families plural. Once you get married, then you're going to be splitting your time. If you decide to get married, you'll be splitting your time and trying to balance a couple different families at one time. But so we'll travel a little bit, and I just need to like relax and decompress.
And that's
I'll be
hard
dogless
to do.
too, so
Right.
I'll be able to sleep in.
Yeah. And that's hard to do. Any tips for young people on pertain to social media? Because you guys are you live in cameras all around you, not only the device, and when we're working with you, we're recording on our iPhone what you're saying in front of the camera. Any tips for younger people, Andrea, on how they could maybe keep their digital tattoo in check, especially when they're spending time with family?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, me being so young and a new grad,
right?
I'd say, and this is advice that I've gotten from people who are older than me as well, connections. Connections are so important in any field, but especially with media and everything. And now that we live in a world of social media, even making those connections, even if you haven't met in person, making those connections online, and then just not being afraid to just like message someone like, hey, like I'm Andrea Snody, like can we meet meet up sometime, or hey, can you give me some advice on this, because you don't know where it'll lead you later on. So I'd say connections, and I wish I'd started making connections earlier, but I've just realized through my very fresh career that connections is what's
you have a great personality, so you've got a
Thank
long
you.
career ahead of you to make. You'll do fine.
Thank you.
So definitely networking. I mean, my career's built on networking.
Right.
And I think you have to look at the flip side of it. Always know that you can be recorded at any time, at any place when you are out. So especially in our careers, you need to be very careful about how you are seen in public
And who you're with.
And so, and what's posted. So always make sure, I always do the 1, 2, 3 rule, like my 3 seconds. Like if I'm going to tweet something, I take a look at it, make sure I look at it again. And even on your personal, nothing's really personal anymore. So if you're in the public eye, even you have to worry about what your personal page looks like too.
Yeah.
So I would say just be cautious. Take those 3 extra seconds before you send out a tweet. And this lives on. Anything on the internet, it lives on. And we've seen how it can ruin people. So that's my advice.
Well, it's on the servers forever.
Yeah, right.
People think, well, it's off Snapchat, it's Instagram story, you're up for what, 24 hours?
It can always be found, I'm quite sure. So
unfortunately. Yeah. And there's an upside to that. There, when I've met all of you and have heard news online, there's some really good content out there. Unfortunately, some of the, the really downside, which is scary, if my children were younger, I'd be really scared. Now I'm worried about my grandchildren, but nobody has a device yet. So we're good on that, on the younger generation. But we do desperately miss Annie here. So we're going to have a redo for the holiday. But I'm so grateful that both of you spent time out of, came away from the news desk and the microphone. I value both of your relationships and your friendship and what you do to represent and tell stories in Central PA. And that's, whoever tells the story writes history. And so the content that you're putting out and the clients that we work with, we're so excited to, 10 years from now, people are going to Google what happened, who was in Central PA. And I think they're going to be really proud of the caliber of people that we have here, the compassion, the very giving spirit, and 2 of you are the best examples of that. So thanks for coming to the Grit Gravitas podcast studio, Andrea, Valerie. Thank you for your service, for your family, your dad. Thank you, Andrea, for your service. And we're going to have a do-over when Annie meets us again. So,
sounds good.
Yes. Have a high gear day, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. It's our desire that these stories will bring energy, ideas, and fresh thinking that you can use today. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. And have a high gear day.